Welcome to Brother Owl's Garden. I'm Brian and this is Lotus. She wanted to stop by and say hello today. Hello! I thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here today. I'm particularly excited today to address today's topic. A while back, I guess you could say some very large pearls of wisdom came to me, or they sort of all congealed together after a certain period of gathering, to where I was able to identify them and organize them. You know, they came fully to surface. And it is these pearls of wisdom, these gems, that I want to discuss with you today. And I call them the 7 sacred questions. This is if Lotus doesn't knock down my tripod during this video, which is possible. Hold on. Okay. Now, the 7 sacred questions. Maybe there's 14, maybe there's 9, but these are the 7 that I've got to offer you today. And I think that they can be, if implemented, revolutionary in the ascension of your consciousness and the bringing to light the conscious, deliberate living of your life for the purpose of purification, ascension, and enlightenment. And so that's the background for these questions. These questions are not being asked to your intellect. So I need to make that clear. These questions are not something you are asking your intellect to solve. The intellect, thank you very much. You can sit this one out. All right? These are questions which you are sending out into spirit. You are sending them out into creation, into the universe, for the answer to come back to you in divine time. And I assure you that the answers will come. They will come like fruit when it's ripe. But when it comes, when the answers to these questions come, you will recognize them and you will know and you will feel enlightened for having received them. What you choose to do with them is, of course, entirely always up to you, but you'll do the right thing. It's quite clear when you get the answers to these questions. So again, these are not questions that you're intellectually mulling over as if they are philosophical quandaries or something. It's not like that. I suggest to you that every morning, the moment you wake up, send these questions, or at least the one that is feeling the most poignant to you at any given time. Send it out as soon as you wake up in the morning. Go about your day, do what you do, and then in the evening, when you lay down to go to sleep again, send the question out again. So what I'm saying is, as soon as you've arisen from sleep and just before you descend back to sleep, is when I suggest you send these questions. Of course, you can also send them at any other time during the day, but I think that those are 2 very powerful times of your day to do that. And again, I assure you, if you send them with a clean heart and a quiet mind and a pure intention, because that's always very important, the answers will come to you in divine time, in due season, like ripe fruit. And they'll fall into your lap. You'll just get it. The answer will just arrive to you. Your spirit guides, or as I call it, your sacred soul tribe, your ascended masters, your angels, your ancestors, divine spirits who love you and look after you and are there to guide you from beyond. Beyond may just be a different frequency, by the way. They are the ones who will get this answer to you in the way that you can receive it when it is time for you to receive it. Let's look at the questions. The first one to ask This pertains to especially when you're going through a difficult or confusing or challenging ordeal in your life. It's kind of a two ways to ask this question, but it's one point. The question is, what is the lesson? What am I learning? So if you're going through whatever that challenging, difficult ordeal is, and a lot of times you just can't figure out, why me? Why is this happening? What's the point of this happening, etc.? You're sending out the wisdom question, the first of the 7 sacred questions, which is, what is the lesson? What am I learning? It will come to you, and suddenly your understanding of this ordeal and the meaningfulness within it and the core lesson, the nectar in that flower, will become evident to you, and then you can receive it consciously and willingly. What am I learning? What is the lesson? And everything contains those. The second question, this one incurs some work, but it's divine and wonderful work, and it's work that you have to do at some point in your life, and the sooner you do it and the more thoroughly you do it and the more adept you become at doing it, the more exponentially your freedom and your happiness and your well-being will skyrocket. This is the question: who have I not yet forgiven? Who have I not yet forgiven? You already know who you're thinking of. There's your work. Forgive. I'll get into this more in another video, but when I say forgive, I do not mean pardon the wrong behavior of another. That is not the definition of forgive. The definition of forgive is to free yourself from the burden of effect of another's deeds. Who have I not yet forgiven? And although you would come to this eventually in the process on your own accord, I'd like to plant a little seed, a little hint in there. You don't need to look too far. You'll get it. You probably already know who I mean. Number 3. Who or what am I giving my sacred energy to? To where am I allotting my power? Where am I directing my energy to? In other words, what or who am I feeding? Your energy is sacred, and I believe it can be to some extent limited. So take an assessment and see how efficient and wise you're being in investing your energy. Another way to ask this question, instead of who am I giving or what am I giving my energy to, you could say, who and what am I investing my energy in? As you know, wherever attention goes, energy flows. Wherever energy flows, that thing grows. So what are you feeding? Is it worthy of your energy? Is it serving you? Or is it a squandering? Is it a waste? Maybe you have some vice or addiction that's taking so much of your sacred energy away that at the end of the day, you just don't have much left to offer for things more benevolent. Or maybe you've been hanging on to past associations or relationships or habits that don't work for you anymore. They're not serving you. Maybe you should close those channels, patch those holes in your basket. Who and what am I investing my sacred energy in? That is question number 3. Question number 4, sort of the inverse. Who and what am I allowing into my own personal universe? We are individuations of cosmic consciousness. As such, You can think of yourself as a mini universe or a microverse, your own little world, you. As Alan Watts says, the aperture through which the universe observes itself. I'm paraphrasing that. But in your own little universe, what are you allowing in? And who are you allowing in? What energies, what actions, what everything, what perceptions, what thoughts, what beliefs, all of it. Also, what you eat. We're talking physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, everything. What are you allowing in? Are you eating a lot of garbage, junk food? You know it is. You gotta put away those instant noodles. Instant meaning 20 minutes, by the way. They're not instant. They take at least 20 minutes. But you understand. Take stock of what you are allowing into your mind, into your heart, into your body. What are you ingesting into your being? And what are you allowing into your sphere of control? And what I mean by control is responsibility is a better word. Your sphere of responsibility for your own wellness. Who are you letting in? Now, I'm not saying to hate everybody and shut them out because they're flawed and imperfect, just like all of us. But I'm saying maybe somebody is relentlessly toxic and destructive to your personal well-being. Maybe you want to close that off. Maybe you are addicted to the internet in various ways, in a way that's pumping poison into you. It's time to shut those things off. And on the other side of the coin, it's time to start selecting what you will give your sacred energy to. Because you need to think of it in terms of investing. What are you allowing across your border? What are you investing your energy in? So that's question number 4. What am I allowing into my universe? And who am I allowing into my own personal universe? Number 5. We don't even realize that from our early childhood, very early childhood, on and on and on, probably into our, well, it could be our whole life, but probably into our 30s, we are being subjected unconsciously or unwittingly to massive, massive waves and torrents of conditioning, whether they be from cultural modes of behavior, religious theology, socially accepted and rejected ways of behaving, etc., etc., etc. It's all conditioning. This is how we do things. These are the things I believe are right and wrong and good and bad and proper, and it should be this way and that. This is all conditioning. This is all the coloring that gets added to you, layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, from your very early infancy. And you couldn't have even been expected to be aware of it while it was happening. But it got in. I assure you, it got in. I am still resonating massive amounts of the conditioning that I've received, even though I've gone beyond the point of being very consciously aware of a lot of it, lots of levels of it, and have let it go. And that's a whole other video that's coming later. But the question is, what underlying beliefs and programming are affecting my behavior? How is your experience of life now being shaped and directed and guided and altered and affected by underlying beliefs and conditions, some of which you may examine and choose to keep, which is a perfectly fine option, and others you may examine and choose to release. When you do that, by the way, don't do it with vindictiveness or anger or resentment. Do it by thanking the conditioning, thanking the beliefs, and even those who may have been associated with them being imbued into you. Thank them, because this has brought you to the realization of where you are now in understanding them. And without having been affected and subjected to them, you wouldn't have had this. So, bless your scars. Bless your scars. they have brought you to where you are now. Don't curse the experiences that have brought you to the understanding that you're at now, which someday you'll shed and surpass, by the way. But this is where you are now, and they are the factors that got you here. Or at least were part of the tools that you used to get here. So thank them, acknowledge them, thank them, and release them. That's very important. And again, some you may say, yeah, I recognize this as conditioning, so to speak, but I want to hold on to that. Then do so. And also someday you may drop that one too. But if that's where you are now, or you feel that belief or that conditioning is serving you, or it still works for you, keep it and thank it. Okay, that was number 5. Here's number 6. How am I regularly engaging my own sacred charge, my own sacred duty in life? In other words, this is, so to speak, how am I giving of myself? What am I offering to life? Okay? So the question is, how am I regularly engaging my sacred charge or my sacred duty? How am I giving of myself on a regular basis? We all have unique individual gifts, talents, abilities, proclivities. You're really good at something that I can't do. I'm awful at, I don't know, I'll say mathematics, chemistry. I'm also no good at art, and I really wish I was. By that I mean painting and drawing and all that. I really wish I was, but I'm not. Maybe you are. So maybe you have that tremendous gift. Maybe your gift is the ability to listen and be present to a wounded soul who needs somebody in their darkest hour. Maybe your gift is to offer one afternoon per week at a convalescent center near your home for people who need help healing physically. Maybe there is a facility or a home for people who have mental handicaps, or who have whatever struggles it is that they're dealing with, and you have that heart of gold to go and be present for them and to assist them in the small mundane things that are so precious. Maybe your gift is that you're a phenomenal musician and you can compose songs that touch people's hearts and speak to their suffering and where they are now on their path. They can relate so empathically to you. Whatever your gift is, and you may have several, how are you regularly engaging the giving of your gift, your sacred charge? There is a reason why you were given these talents, these abilities, these proclivities. It is to engage them for good. So take inventory. How are you using them? Maybe you're not using them at all. And maybe that's contributing to depression, by the way. Because when we are not giving fully of ourselves, not being our truest, fullest self, that is suppression. That's a blockage, and that blockage is a massive cause of depression. Why not solve two problems in one act and give of yourself to others and discover you've been relieved of that depression? Here is the 7th and final of the 7 sacred questions. Whenever you're assessing any situation or anything that you want to do, any activity that you want to take on, any choice you are making, you can apply this question to just about any choice you are about to make. And it will kind of answer itself. The question is, does this serve or hinder the purification and ascension of my being? Does this serve or hinder the purification and ascension of my being? If the answer is it serves it, it's probably a good choice. If the answer is it hinders it, it's probably not a good choice. Whatever you choose will be your path. but you can choose a more efficient and illuminated path. You don't need to put all kinds of stumbling blocks in front of you just to get the lessons from them. There's enough of them that come on their own, or from our blind spots and our ignorance and our unawareness. So you can save a lot of headache and a lot of squandered sacred energy by putting every decision to the test of that question. Does this serve or hinder my purification and spiritual ascension of being? These are the 7 sacred questions. I hope that they illuminate your life and exponentially enhance your life, as you have now made them conscious, and you can now use them as a lens to look at life and see it far more clearly and understand the overall bigger picture of life with greater lucidity. So, those are the 7 sacred questions, and I thank you, and I offer them to you as my sacred offering, and may they bless your life. And always remember to abide in thankfulness for your highest good, in the most benevolent outcome of the divine will.